Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share my experience creating Energon cubes for my display. I recently picked up a set of reissue Opticlones, and I was really disappointed when I realized that KFC decided not to include the Energon cubes this time with the set. And so I decided to turn my disappointment into an opportunity to try to make my own. So please follow along as I show you what I created. After doing some research, I decided to go with epoxy resin for this project. I've never worked with resin before, but I've always wanted to, so this was a good excuse to try it out. But what this meant was I would be doing a lot of experimenting as I went along. And here are the basic items you would need, the majority of which I purchased at my local hobby store. The main thing to remember when working with epoxy is that you are generally combining two parts. One part is the resin itself and the other part is the hardener, and it's not until you combine these two parts does the resin become active. And after combining the two parts, I then added the color. For this I used a couple of drops of red and purple translucent dye, especially made for epoxy. Once you have the color added, you mix everything together for a couple of minutes. This next step is where I kind of experimented a bit. I decided to add some of this reflective glitter into my mixture just to see what would happen. I combined everything together and then I slowly poured my mixture into my mold. And this is where I made my first mistake. Going in, I was aware that air bubbles were something I needed to watch out for. But honestly for me, it wasn't my biggest concern because I was actually curious to see how they would look in the final product. The biggest takeaway from this batch was when I started noticing all of my glitter collecting at the surface as everything slowly rose to the top. What this probably meant was that the glitter would be dispersed unevenly, which is what I didn't want. And after letting this batch dry overnight, I went ahead and unmolded them just to see what I got. And this confirmed what I suspected, that my glitter had collected at the top and it was uneven. The other thing I wasn't really happy with was that the squares went fully straight. I think because the resin itself was actually pushing against the walls of the mold and kind of made everything bow out a little. And given this was my first attempt, despite the minor setbacks, I was still pretty happy with what I got at the end. This time around I made some adjustments to my setup. First I made this frame out of Lego to give my mold extra support and rigidity, so hopefully my cube won't come out warped. Also, instead of filling each cube in one go, I applied the resin in layers instead. And as I saw bubbles collect on the surface, I popped them with a stove lighter. I gave each layer about 15-20 minutes before adding the next layer, and I repeated the process until the mold was filled. Also, I decided not to use any glitter, just so I can see what the difference would be. And here's one of my finished Energon cubes. Overall, not bad. I think it came out better than the first batch. Still not perfect yet, and I definitely want to continue to experiment with my process because working with resin is actually quite fun. But for now, I'm pretty satisfied with these first attempts because the finished cubes look pretty cool, especially with a bit of light shining through them. Again, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Till next time.